Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Pierre Poilievre is the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada, and ideally the next Prime Minister of Canada, even though he understandably is taking a pugnacious tone with Trump on tariffs. Take a listen.
We must respond with strength, and strength means leverage. America has leverage, and we have leverage. I will use that leverage. Retaliation is only the beginning. Yes, we need to retaliate. If they put tariffs on our steel and aluminum, I will put tariffs on their steel and aluminum. If they hit us with generalized tariffs, we will respond dollar for dollar. Yes, we will carefully target American goods that we don't need, can produce ourselves, or we can get elsewhere to maximize the impact on Americans while minimizing the impact on ourselves. As Winston Churchill said, though, you can always count on the Americans to do the right thing after exhausting all other possibilities. So let me spell out the possibilities for our American friends and speak directly to them. Option one, you can carry out an unprovoked attack on our economy. Your consumers will pay more and your workers will make less. Gas prices will skyrocket. You will turn a loyal friend into a resentful neighbor, forced to match tariff with tariff and to seek friends everywhere else. Both our economies will weaken, leaving less money for defense and security, and our enemies will grow stronger. Yeah. See, the problem is at times we might be too polite, soft-spoken, and humble for our own good. We are slow to anger and quick to forgive, but never confuse our kindness with weakness.
For more on this, please be joined by Steve Moore, economist, author of The Trump Economic Miracle and the Plan to Unleash Prosperity Again, co-authored with Art Laffer. Steve, one autarky begets another. Steve?
Steve, are you there?
Steve?
Hello?
Do we have Steve? Yes, no? Hello? Do we have Steve or no? Okay, we'll come back and we'll try to get Steve Moore.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
AM 560.
The Answer.
Dan and Amy, okay, let's try this again. Economist Steve Moore, calling Economist Steve Moore. Are you there?
Good morning. Can you guys hear me now?
Finally, yes. You're talking on the right side of the phone now. Good.
I did hear that tape you played of the Canadian politicians, and listen, I've always been a big fan of the Reagan vision that we have a free trade zone between Canada, the United States, and Mexico. It makes sense, so I don't like tariffs. I don't like tariffs on our friends. Canada is a friendly neighbor, and so I don't agree with Trump on tariffs. Although it is important to realize that Canada does have higher tariffs on us than we have on them. But I would rather go with the approach where we lower our tariffs rather than raise them.
Trump saying yesterday he's considering tariffs of 25% or more on cars, semiconductors, pharmaceutical products, and that they would go very substantially higher over the course of the year, quote unquote.
Yeah, I don't like those either. Listen, I do think there's something to the idea of reciprocal tariffs as a bargaining tool with, because, look, the fact is the United States does have virtually the lowest tariffs in the world. That's just simply a fact. And most countries impose higher tariffs on us than we do on them. And Trump wants to, level the playing field. But I think that there's a real risk if you keep raising tariffs and then they keep raising tariffs. It could lead to a very unproductive trade war. But that being said, it is true that there's one country in the world that everybody has to trade with, and that is the United States. So Canada must trade with the United States. China must trade with the United States. The Europeans must have access to our markets. We're the biggest consumer market in the world. And Trump is using that leverage to force these other countries to lower their tariffs. Canada, they can't possibly win a tit-for-tat game with the United States because if they can't trade with us, their economy gets wrecked a lot sooner than ours does. So it's a dangerous game, but I am in favor of using our leverage to get other countries to lower their tariffs on us. What do you think about that, Dan?
Well, what's the conversation like? I mean, the reporting is that Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has tried to get Trump to be a little bit more cautious with respect to tariffs, and he's obviously not winning the day in the face of Peter Navarro and others. And I just wonder what, like, the conversations when there's pushback provided on this by Trump, to Trump in terms of, you have to recognize some of the pitfalls here. I mean, there is some dangers that this is not, a panacea for our economic woes or for our desires for economic growth. And what does he say to that? Steve? Do we lose Steve?
This is going swimmingly.
We lost Steve.
Stephen Moore.
Hello?
Okay.
Sorry about that. I'm having a problem with my phone, but I heard what you said. And listen, Trump has been straightforward from the time he first started running for president 9 years ago that he's a tariff guy. And you're getting what you voted for. Now, I don't like a lot of the tariffs. I love his tax cuts. I love his deregulation policies. I like what he wants to do about drill, baby, drill. I think the tariff issue is really, potentially problematic. But I will say this, Amy, if you look at what's happened in just the last 4 weeks, the other countries back down. Look at Colombia back down, Mexico back down. All these other countries, they're not going to threaten us, and they realize, hey, we've got a high stake here in keeping a good relation with the United States.
Right, but it doesn't sound like Canada's going to back down.
Well, I think they will. There's no doubt that they will back down. I will any amount of money, 10-to-1 odds that Canada will back down here. They can't possibly, if they raise their tariffs on us and we raise our tariffs on them, that trade war, and I don't want to see it, but that trade war is catastrophic for them. So I don't see that they will back down. I am sure about that. But I kind of agree. Why do you treat your friends like that? Canada is an important ally of the United States. So is Mexico. Now, I feel very differently about China, by the way. I just did a big debate last night in Washington about whether we should impose tariffs on China, and I believe we should because I think China is an enemy of the United States, and I think they're dangerous, and they should pay.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It's sort of like get to first principles here, and do you think it's a good policy or bad policy? And if you think it's a bad policy, then why would you want to do it to your citizens just because some other country is doing it to theirs?
Yeah, if they shoot themselves in the foot, so we're going to shoot ourselves in the foot.
Right.
That doesn't make a lot of sense. But except that you're leaving out, Dan, of the equation that we can use our American might and our leverage. Read Donald Trump's book, the
Art of the Deal.
Art of the Deal. Yeah, because he talks all about leverage and using leverage to get anytime if I'm in a negotiation with you, Dan, and I have the leverage over you, I'm going to probably win that negotiation. And so Trump is using this. And at the end of the day, here's my happy scenario. At the end of the day, these other countries will cut their tariffs, and we'll have freer and fairer trade, and everybody's better off.
Well, let's hope that happens happily, as you say. The state of moving the extension of the Trump tax cuts, where is that in terms of the House?
I have got smoke coming out of my ears on this. I want to make sure that all your listeners know if we don't get this tax cut done by the end of the year and the clock is ticking, then every family in America on average will pay $3,000 a year more taxes next year. In other words, everybody's taxes will go up. Every business, every small business, every medium-sized business, every corporation in America will pay more taxes. We'll bring back the alternative minimum tax. Twice as many families will have to pay the unfair debt tax. I could go on and on. It is absolutely imperative that we get this tax cut extended and made permanent. And why are they dithering? Why are they waiting? This should have been something they did in the first weeks of the new Congress. Get it done. Trump is popular right now. He's got the wind at his back. He's got the voter mandate to do this. You got a Republican House, Republican Senate. I just do not understand why this is taking so long. And the longer it takes, the more Wall Street gets nervous about whether this is going to happen at all.
You don't know why
Trump?
You don't know why progress is not happening. You don't know why this is being impeded.
Well, there's a lot of factors. I mean, how much time have you got? One factor is you've got a lot of these Republicans and obviously.
Here is Rory Stewart explaining his connection to USAID.
Stopped.
Okay, sorry about that. Go ahead, Steve.
Sorry about that. So anyway, you've got the people in blue states who, we got rid of the state and local tax deduction. Remember that, Dan and Amy? So they want to bring that back. Well, that was a major pay for, and there's no reason people in low tax states should have to pay more taxes to accommodate your high taxes in Illinois and New York and New Jersey and California. Then you've got a lot of Republicans, God bless them, who want to cut the budget. I want to cut the budget, but they want to hold the tax cut hostage to all these spending cuts. And I think that's a trap. I mean, then you're going to have Democrats say, see, the Republicans want to cut taxes so they can, and pay for it by cutting Medicaid and Medicare. And that, how many times have we been to that movie? So my approach would be do the tax cut right now, do it as quickly as possible. Then we can let DOGE, go through that budget like a hot knife through butter and find hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars of savings. Did you see, by the way, Dan and Amy, that the HUD, Department of Housing and Urban Development, they mishandled and, quote, lost $1.9 billion. We don't know what happened to it.
Yeah, it can happen.
$2 billion?
That can happen.
Happens.
It's a rounding error.
when that happens.
Yeah. So, Stephen Moore, if we can't get these tax, well, real quick, just to follow up, what about tax on tips, tax on overtime?
We're going to do that. Yep. Yeah, we're going to do no tax on tips. We'll probably provide some tax relief on overtime because these are things Trump ran on, and he has a mandate to do it. They're popular. I don't think he would have won the state of Nevada in the election if he hadn't had the no tax on tips. So, and you know this, you guys, I was a caddy. I used to caddy for Dan in the old days.
Yeah,
and,
it was like
and I was also...
Yeah.
Do you remember the Andy Frayne ushers? Do they still have Andy Frayne ushers in Chicago?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, they do?
Don't they? Don't they? I haven't gone to a game in a while.
Well, that's what I did when I was a kid. I was an Andy Frayne usher.
Really?
And caddy. Wow, you're working everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. I was a hardworking kid.
Yeah. So on March 1st, what will be more valuable, 1 Bitcoin or 1 dozen eggs?
Did you see, by the way, there have been 30 major news stories in the last 2 or 3 weeks on egg prices. When Biden was president, there were the whole presidency, there were 5 news stories. So all of a sudden, it's all Trump's fault that egg prices have gone to. What are they in? What are they cost now, Amy, in Chicago? I mean, I paid $7 for a dozen eggs the other day.
It's about that. In Utah, it's $19 for 18 eggs. I'm not kidding you. I'm not buying eggs.
Oh my God! Well, everybody knows that the reason this happened is that animal lover Joe Biden killed 10 million chickens.
Yes, right. Supply and demand. Yeah, same old story. Stephen Moore, economist, author of The Trump Economic Miracle and the Plan to Unleash Prosperity Again. Stephen, thanks as always.
Okay, guys, have a great week. Stay warm. I hear it's going to be, a high of 3 degrees or something in Chicago today?
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile. Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
This Valentine's season, the Ministry of Preborn invites you to become a heartbeat hero and share the love that goes beyond a box of chocolates, a love that saves lives. Every day, thousands of women are told the lie that abortion is their only option. They can't do it, that there is no hope. But that mother in crisis, when she sees her baby on an ultrasound at a preborn network clinic, it doubles her chances at choosing life. This isn't just an image on a screen. It's about a mom hearing the baby's heartbeat, maybe for the first time, and realizing that's a gift growing inside of her. One preborn supporter said, "Knowing my gift could save a life was the most meaningful act of love I could give." For $28, you can provide an ultrasound and help a mom in crisis choose life. $140 provides 5 ultrasounds. So this Valentine's season, take a stand, be bold, become a heartbeat hero. Dial pound 250, say the keyword baby. That's pound 250, keyword baby, or visit preborn.com/hope. That's preborn.com/